Hi all, hi there and welcome to a video for data of Punchestown. Fingers crossed this one works after yesterday's one failed. Apologies for that again, but yeah, we didn't do too bad, got a couple of winners, but the performance of Don Poley still absolutely mystifies me. I don't know what went wrong there. I hope it's nothing too serious, but today's another day and we obviously are going to try and have a go and see what we can pick today. The opening race, the 3 mile 340, the conditional hurdle, is very, very hard, and I know it's favourite, but I think Riviera's son must have a great chance here. His piece of form at Christmas, where he only got beaten 5 1/4 lengths by Windsor Park, is by far and away the best piece of form on offer, with Windsor Park going on to win at Cheltenham. Since then he's gone from strength to strength. He came fourth in a competitive maiden on soft ground before winning last time out really, really easily. His maiden at Limerick, so he starts on a decent mark, and he must have a really, really good chance today, I'd say. A horse that does interest me in this as well at a big price is called Fine Theatre for Paul Nolan. Over 2.5 mile a couple of runs ago, he won really, really easily his maiden, and then next time out he was shoved straight into Grade 2 company, and he ran well for a long way before ultimately fading, which is understandable. So on this like a conditional handicap today, he could actually be really well in if he's something a little bit better than a handicapper basically. Also of interest for me is Nickname Exit. He's done very well and the softer ground does seem to help him. The one worry I do have is I don't think he's particularly well in over this new trip, but he's a very, very good horse in his own right. While Oscar Knight's a very good horse, his 2 runs previous to his last, he only got beaten, well, he won by half a length, got beaten by less than 2.5 lengths in his maidens, and then on his handicap debut he ran well for a really long way, over 3 miles before. I just ultimately don't think he was ready for the trip, so I could see him running a really, really solid race, to be honest with you. It's a really hard opener, but from 1, 2, 3 I'm happy to go with Riviera's son from Fine Theatre, and I'm actually going to put Oscar Knight in, coming back down in trip. The next up is it's called the Lou Fitzgerald Hotel Hurdle. It's a very tough race, though. Starting at the top of the market seems the clever move to do here with Identity Thief, who must have a great chance. Only got beaten 5 1/4 lengths over 2 mile in a Grade 2 last time, when he seemed to be desperately in need of a longer trip. The time out before that, he ran no sort of race. We still don't know why. Maybe because it was Grade 1 was above his level. But before then, he beat Snow Falcon, who's gone on to be a half-decent horse. So he must have a really good chance, I think, Identity Thief. He also has the second in the market as well, which is Saddler's Risk, who's done absolutely nothing wrong so far. I just think Identity Thief's form's a little bit more solid than what you've actually got there. Marchese Marconi's an interesting one, because he looked like he was going to give a really good race in the novice hurdle to Sir Scorpion last time out when he unseated at the last, and also earlier this season he was beaten only 9 1/4 lengths on the flat. Well, you say only 9 1/4 on the flat by Windsor Park. He was then subsequently put in his place by Martello Taro, went on to win at Cheltenham. So while a huge step forward's needed, he's relatively lightly raced, so I could see him running a half-decent race here. Ackland for Mullins and Walsh. I think that price is a bit fake in my eyes, to be honest with you, because it's Willie Mullins and Ruby Walsh. Because the last twice he's come 3rd of 3, beaten 33 lengths, 6th of 8, beaten 24 lengths, and even before then he got beaten 4 1/4 lengths by Noble Endeavour. He run half decent to Cheltenham, but then let the form down since. So I think there's other ones I would rather look at there. One that it has mentioned, and there was a line of form to it before, was Total Recall. It got heavily beaten by Shane's Hill last time, over 2.5 mile in a Grade 2. And before that, it run a half-decent race behind Sub Lieutenant. Okay, he needs to take a huge step forward, but you know he'll go on the going, and in fact the slightly better going might work to his favour, so he could run your half-decent race. It's a good race this on paper, but my 1, 2, 3 I'm happy to go with is Identity Thief from Marchese Marconi and Total Recall. The next up is the 455, and the horse I like here is actually Thistlecrack for Colin Tizard. I was at Aintree when it absolutely routed the Group 1 field by 13 lengths on good to soft ground. It was his first step up to 3 miles, and I sometimes think if a horse takes the 3 miles, like because it was stepping up by a mile, it can often be really, really well in. And I think the way it run that day suggests it is that well in. Tom Scudamore over an hour and then has taken the ride again. The softer ground is no problem at all. He clearly stays, and for me, there is value there at 8, 9 to 1. No More Heroes got the second worst ride behind the ride Brian Cooper also gave Don Cossack at Cheltenham, and still only went down 1.5 lengths from Martello Tower. I do suspect though with this one, all of his best form is on really soft ground, and unless it buckets down today, I just don't think it's going to be that soft, and I think Thistle Crack, who travels well, could just have that little bit more to his game. Shane's Hill ran a cracker at Cheltenham, 4.5 lengths behind Duvon. Duvon obviously franked the form yesterday, and really seemed to benefit for the step up and trip last time to 2.5 mile. However, this is up now to 3 mile. It's less soft ground, and last time was a bit of an egg and spoon race even for a grade 2. So at 5 to 4, I think that's plenty short enough. Fletcher's Fly is interesting for Harry Fry. Though he was beaten by Definitely Red last time out, I don't think it's an absolute world beater, to be honest with you, so he'll need another step forward. While Kilulta Vic's always a solid horse and ran really well in the conditional handicap at Cheltenham, but I suspect like a handicap is his type of like a conditional handicap is his type of race really. It's a really interesting renewal, but 1, 2, 3 I'm going for is Thistle Crack to beat Shane's Hill and No More Heroes. Next up is the big one, which is the Punchestown Gold Cup, and it won't surprise anyone on here to know that even though Brian Cooper has, I'm not deserting Don Cossack. That performance in the Melon Chase at Aintree was breathtaking. Every fence was winged, he travelled well, he jumped well, and provided he's not like Don Polian over the top, I think the step up to 3 mile is exactly what's needed. And I believe, even though Brian Cooper's deserted him today, I believe after today he's going to be the Gigginstown Gold Cup horse for next year. I really hope he is, because I've backed him at a really nice price for next year's Gold Cup, and I've got a feeling if he goes well here today and wins, he could come in a lot more than that. Jackadam ran in the Gold Cup and ran an absolute screamer to come second, but that must have been a hard race because he tried to go toe to toe in softish ground with Coney Gree, and I wonder if that may have left a mark on it. This is also a little bit shorter, a little bit faster ground as well, and Don Cossack, the one thing he showed at Aintree is he had pace to burn, never mind the stamina. Road to Riches came third in that Gold Cup, which once again was nothing wrong in that, but he's had 5 runs, he's been on the go since last summer really. He's had a lot of runs, a lot on soft going as well, and I just wonder when the season will finally catch up with him. Ballymagor ran a great race second to Silvignaco Conti last time, but if we're being honest, I don't think Silvignaco Conti was necessarily at his best after a tough season, and he'd have to find more there. They're going back to 3 and put mile 1 again with Q Card, which I can't see him reversing any form with Don Cossack that many lengths, and I'm not convinced 3 mile plus is his trip. On his own we'll take him on for the lead, and there's been an admirable horse over the year, but it's short of this class and it's hard to make a case for anyone else. My 1, 2, 3 I go for here is Don Cossack as my nap of the day, with to beat Jackadam and Road to Riches. Nothing revolutionary, but you just got to assume that they're all going to run the race. The bumper is very interesting for me because there's a lot of the big stables represented, and the horse I actually can't believe is 13 to 2 is, or 7 to 1 just now, is Super Sunday. I actually backed this in the champion bumper, and it led for a long way until it was just caught on the last furlong up the hill. He's got a good flat pedigree. And I think the other thing I would say is on that one there was a lot of people hassling for the lead that day. This is more of a front runner's track, and I think that Super Sunday could run a great race. Pile on the Pressure was what I actually tipped up originally on this video for Cheltenham, and what actually happened was I think he was the horse that was involved in an incident with Champagne Fever in the boxes, so he didn't end up running. So he's fit and fresh and ready for this, so providing he's not too fresh, he must run an absolute great race today, and again 7 to 1 is a really big price. Now Bell Shill is the interesting horse here because he was really fancied for the champion bumper before he got battered by Moon Racer. He then came out and ran a much better race in the bumper race at Aintree, but I would have expected him to win that, to be honest with you, because Barter's Hill was unbeaten, but I still don't think he's an absolute top class horse, that Barter's Hill. So he should run a good race, but I'm going to overlook him. Disco has had 1 run and won by 15 lengths for Nina Carberry. Nina Carberry is keeping the mount on it here, and this stable has been known to win this race, so Disco has to be high on your shortlist. While Modus has the best piece of form for me on offer here. The year before last he came 8th in the champion bumper. only beaten 10 lengths, but this year he came only 1.5 lengths behind Moon Racer, and I think that Moon Racer could be the real deal. Derek O'Connors, who's one of the better conditionals, is on it, and yeah, he's going to have to go very high on the list. The only thing that I worry about with this horse is the form of this champion bump is yet to be fully exploited, so I'm going to have a look for something that hasn't been. So I'm actually going to go with Pile the Pressure here to beat Modus, and I'm going to put Super Sunday in, and basically putting all my eggs, and while I think Disco and well, all my eggs in the basket of the champion bumper's a good bumper this year. So that's what I'm going to be doing. The next up is the 2.5 mile handicap chase, and even though it's favourite, I can't believe Gold Bullet is 7 to 1. And the reason I think this is a cracking price, he's on a really good mark. He easily beat Bailey Green last time. He went very close in the 2 mile chase last time. He ran a really good race at Cheltenham before ultimately not staying 3 mile 2, so there's no disgrace in that. And then his race before that he had good form, placed behind Los Amigos, who again run a really good race in the Irish National until ultimately not staying the trip, so that horse absolutely stands out. Rathlin always runs a good race, and his third in the Topham last time is a really good piece of form. But interestingly, his run before that, he was only beaten 7 lengths by Felix Younger, who went on and won the race yesterday, the champion race. And the time before that it was Bam Maloney who came, I think it was either 2nd or 3rd. But this is his 8th run of the season, so it's how much more racing can this horse take. That's the bit that I always worry about on this. Ballyadam Approach, as he runs a solid enough race, but whether he's up to this standard or not, I don't know. While the horse that interests me, and he got a cracking ride last time at Garum Park, was Toon River, who absolutely routed what looked like a decent field. Now that was over 2 mile 2, and the way he ran on towards the end, he got overtaken and then carried on, came back again, suggests that the step up and trip is fine. Interestingly enough, he ran in a novice chase and won, then he ran in a handicap novice hurdle in February and came 3rd, which is a good one. He then went back over fences, so they've mixed and matched with him here, and it's very interesting. He's interesting to me at a price of 11 to 1. Another one I would a huge price maker I say for is Ruby Light. He unseated in the Grand National, but the time before that he really rallied well at Wexford, and he is the class horse of the race, there's no doubt about it. But whether he's got enough legs against some younger horses is yet to be seen, but it's worth an honourable mention for that one. It looks a decent race, but I'm happy to go with Gold Bullet in this one, definitely, and I will put him ahead of Toon River and Rathlin. The 7.15, which is the last, is a very interesting bumper for me, and I really fancy, well, 2 in this. First up, I'm going to mention his First Figaro for Dermot Weld. I don't think he was ideally suited by really heavy going last time out, but he still did well to come 2nd, and was a long way clear of the last. He's got a decent claim on it here, claiming 7, and he's had a break, the yard's on fire, and I think back on better ground he could really run a good race. Champers on Ice is going to be the favourite, and you get why. It's David Pipe, it runs in pretty much the same colours as Moon Racer, or what Moon Racer used to, and it's got Jodie Codd on it, who won the races at Cheltenham, then at Aintree, then the one yesterday. However, the one thing I will say is there was only 2 hit finishes in a 4-horse race in the last one that he won, and the 12 length runner-up has been beaten twice since, from what I've read in the Racing Post, so you've got to put a question mark against him for that. Arc Risht is very interesting. It got beat last time when favourite by a horse called Coggery Hill, who I think is going to go on to make a superb hurdler there in the next couple of seasons. So on that form, you'd have to think he's got a chance. He didn't seem to get home in soft ground that day, but the worry is, will he fully get home over the trip? That's the bit I can't be 100% sure about. The rest look like much of a muchness without being any disrespect to them. There's nothing that jumps out and goes, this is really worth backing on paper, so I'm happy to stick with those ones there. The Razor Tail, you suppose you could mention it because Jessica Harrington trains it, but it still has to find a lot. It's going to be a really tough renewal, this one, but I'm happy to go with First Figaro to beat Arc Risht and Champers on Ice. Well, that's day 2. Fingers crossed this video's actually worked. Again, if anyone's backing anything yourself, let me know, and I should be up with day 3 soon. Thanks very much, guys. Take care.